clear? Is my audio clear? And can you see the PowerPoint presentation? Okay, so and welcome back to Parasitology. Our agenda for today is to finish all of the cestodes so that on Friday we can discuss the last topic for this course, which would be the trematodes. But before that, may I know kung anong slide yung natapos natin bago tayo nag-dismiss, bago tayo nag-semifinal exam? Tapos na ba tayo sa spirometra? Tapos na tayo dito? Ay, hindi pa. Saan tayo natapos? Tapos na tayo dito sa treatment ng dilatos. Okay, so spirometra na tayo. Dito na. Here na. Okay. Okay, sige, let's start na ha. It's already 9:09. So yun. 1, 2, 3, go. Ayan. So welcome back to Parasitology. This is the continuation for our lesson 10, cestodes. And we are still on the order Pseudophilidae. Meaning, itong spirometra na nakikita nyo ngayon sa inyong screen ay Pseudophilidae or Pseudophilidaean pa rin siya. Okay? Under pa rin siya ng order Pseudophilidae or isa pa rin siyang false tapeworm. Okay? And medyo kamukha niya yung life cycle ng dilatom or dilatos with just very few differences. Okay, the spirometra is also referred to as the sparganum. So, pwede ito maging common name niya, yung sparganum. It is described as wrinkled, whitish, and ribbon-shaped organism. Ito yung scolex niya. O, ganyan pa din. Spatulate pa din. Almond-shaped pa din. Spoon-shaped pa din. And the first intermediate host is still the copepods. The second intermediate host is still the fish. But aside from fish, pwede din yung reptiles and amphibians. And the final host would be the dogs and cats. Kung i-compare natin siya kay dilatos, this time, hindi tayo final host. Ano lang tayo? Paratenic host lang tayo. Ang totoong natural, intended, final host niya would be the dogs and the cats. Okay, let's look at the life cycle. Sabi natin, ika-copy-paste lang natin yung life cycle with dilatos at may iilan lang tayong papalitan. Number 1 would be again the definitive host. Definitive host instead of humans in dilatos, dogs and cats na siya. Tapos, for the second intermediate host, aside from the fish, pwede din yung reptiles and amphibians. But yung step-by-step development ng spirometra, exactly the same as dilatos. Nasusundan po ba, O1? Nakakasunod po ba kayo? Okay, so hindi na natin siya i-discuss ng step-by-step ha. Kindly review na lang your dilatos. Okay, so saan pumapasok yung humans sa life cycle niya? Or saan siya, bakit siya nandyan? Okay, kung hindi naman pala siya ang final host, ba't pa siya nandyan sa picture na yun? So here, we serve as paratenic host. Kapag paratenic host, nakakaroon ba ng contribution sa development ng parasite or wala? Anong ibig sabihin ng paratenic? Can we contribute to the life cycle or no? When we say that a host is paratenic from lesson 1, answer is no, tama. So it does not contribute. So tayo, hindi rin tayo nakaka-contribute sa life cycle ng spirometra. And anong nakikita natin dito? We can have 2 infective stages because ayan, so we can have 2 infective stages. We can acquire the parasite in 2 ways. First is we can drink water contaminated with copepods, okay, that contain procercoid larva. Ayan. And then, we can also acquire the parasite by eating the infected fish again containing the Plerocercoid larva. So again, meron po siyang two possible infective stages. The procercoid larva that is found in the copepod of the contaminated water, and pwede din yung Plerocercoid larva na nakikita sa fish, reptiles, and amphibians. However, sabi nga natin, unlike the Dilatus, wala na, hindi na siya magde-develop. So, hindi siya magiging adult in the human host. Instead, it will just wander in our tissues, in our organs, and remain the same. So, hindi na po siya magiging adult. And with that, the Spirometra has two infective stages. The procercoid, again, once ingested through contaminated water, and the Plerocercoid, when we ingest the raw or undercooked infected fish, reptiles, or amphibians. Sabi natin, since hindi siya magiging adult, kung ano yung ginagawa niya sa second intermediate host or sa elder fish, ganun lang din yung mangyayari sa atin. So, gagala lang siya sa ating muscle and subcutaneous tissues. The laboratory diagnosis for this parasite would then be surgical removal. So, we cannot perform stool examination for Spirometra infection because we wouldn't find them in the stool sample. Instead, they would be found in our tissues. Mode of transmission, medyo lang siya, paulit-ulit. Drinking of contaminated water, ingestion of raw, diba, fish or amphibians or reptiles. And dun sa ating textbook, may nakalagay doon na yung paggamit daw ng frog or snake poultice or flesh as treatment for skin or for treatment for open sores. However, kung yung gagamitin nating tissue ng frog or snake ay infected, pwede siyang mapasa or pwedeng matransmit yung parasite dun sa ating open wound. So, ganun din, nahawa lang din tayo. So, that is also one of the minor or miscellaneous mode of transmission for mode of transmission for Spirometra species. Pathogenesis, what do we call the infection caused by Spirometra? It's called sparganosis. The early stage is asymptomatic. However, it can cause inflammatory reaction in the tissues that it will invade. So, ayun, habang nag-wander siya, akala mo wala lang. Pero pag nakapili na siya ng tissue na kung saan siya pupunta, then it can cause a painful inflammatory reaction. It can reside in the eyes, causing ocular sparganosis, or maybe in the brain, causing cerebral sparganosis. But it can also go to other organs such as the subcutaneous tissue nga, the lungs, the pleural cavity. Pwede din sila pumunta doon. So that is for Spirometra species. Now we go to the Cyclophilideans. Natapos na natin yung two Pseudophilideans under this lesson. Now we go to the Cyclophilideans. Ibig sabihin lahat na matidiscuss natin from this slide onward ay true tapeworms na sila. Kaya pag nabanggit natin yung mga infective stage, mga larval stages, tsaka pag tinignan natin yung life cycle nila, iba na din. This time, we will be using the terms cysticercus, cysticercoid, hydatid cyst, as seen in the table that I showed you last week. And also, pag tinignan natin yung eggs, ano na sila? Embryonated na sila, di ba? Mature na sila because they develop inside the host. And then here, ang mga scolex na nila ay globular na. Hindi na sila almond shape, hindi na sila spoon shape. Tapos magagamit na natin yung terms na rostellum, yung armed, yung hook, hooklet, magagamit na natin sila. Okay, let's start first with the Taenia species. We have two species under this genus, the Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. And here are their important information. Number one, for the common name, if it's Taenia solium, we call it pork tapeworm. Pag Taenia saginata, it's called beef tapeworm. The intermediate host, syempre, kung ano yung name niya. Kung pork tapeworm siya, the intermediate host would be the pigs and the wild boars. But for the Taenia saginata, since nakakuha siya sa infected beef, ang kanyang intermediate host would be the cattle or yung baka or yung cow. We humans, Fresnel solium, meron siyang isa pang life cycle. Dalawa kasi yung possible na ways it can infect man. So, merong life cycle na the infective stage would be cysticercus cellulose. Meron din namang pathway na the infective stage would be eggs. So kapag cysticercus cellulose yung nakain natin, we can serve as the final host. Pero when we ingest the eggs, we can serve as accidental intermediate host. Kaya nandito din yung humans sa row na to. More on that later. Kung di nyo naintindihan, okay lang yun. Explain pa natin yan mamaya. While for Taenia saginata, there's only one infective stage, and that would be the Cysticercus bovis. Diagnostic stage for both of them would be the eggs and the proglutids. Mode of transmission is ingestion, and the habitat would be the small intestine. Itong small intestine, uniform yan across all of the parasites that we will discuss today. Na ang habitat nila sa definitive host is always the small intestine. Laboratory diagnosis, we can perform stool examination, cellophane tape swab. Natatandaan niyo pa ba yung cellophane tape swab? Ito yung ginagamit natin sa E. vermicularis, pero pwede din siya pang Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. The eggs of the Taenia species are indistinguishable, meaning we cannot identify the species just by looking at the egg. So in order for us to know what parasite is present in the stool sample, we can look at the proglutids instead. And we can look at the uterine branches that can be found in gravid proglutids. For Taenia solium, pag binilang natin yung uterine branches niya, pwede tayo makakita ng 7 to 13. Kapag Taenia saginata naman, pwede siyang 15 to 20, mas madami. For Taenia solium, aside from stool examination, we can also perform surgical removal. Later, makikita natin yan dun sa life cycle niya kung bakit napupunta siya sa tissue? Kasi surgery. So mamaya babalikan natin. Treatment is praziquantel and niclosamide. Itong praziquantel and niclosamide, pakitandaan kasi yan lagi yung lalabas na drugs sa treatment natin for all the parasites today. Except one. Isa lang yun. But for the rest, laging praziquantel and niclosamide ang treatment. Prevention would be, para hindi tayo mahawa, lutuin ng maigi ang pork meat and beef meat and proper disposal of feces. So, if we have a good sewage system, we dispose our feces properly, yung eggs, hindi siya makakain ng intermediate host, hindi magko-continue yung life cycle. Okay? So, that is for the side-by-side comparison of Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. Let's now go to their morphology and let's try to identify the differences between the scolex of and the proglutids of Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. For the scolex of Taenia solium, we describe it to be armed or meron siyang armed rostellum. Ibig sabihin, yung rostellum niya, yung fleshy extension of the scolex, meron daw siyang hooks or hooklets. And additional description ng hooks ng solium is, it is double crowned or double rows. So, dalawang round ng hooklets yung nakikita sa rostellum niya. So, ayan, it has a double crown or double rows of hooklets, and so it is called armed rostellum or armed scolex. And this is what it would look like, cartoon version. For the proglutid naman, the mature proglutid is wider than long ulit, having one set of male and female organs. And for the gravid proglutid, meron nga siyang 7 to 13 uterine or lateral branches. Again, meron siyang 7 to 13 uterine or lateral branches. For the egg, ayan, again, it's indistinguishable between Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. So, it is composed of a thick outer coat called embryophore, and inside, you would find the oncosphere. So, yung oncosphere, ito yung parang counterpart ni Coracidium ng mga dila, ng mga pseudophilidean. So, yung mga pseudophilidean, meron silang Coracidium. Ito namang mga cyclophilidean, meron silang oncosphere. Ito yung lumalabas din sa egg. So, oncosphere sa loob. And then, meron din siyang 6 hooks. Ayan. Tapos again, indistinguishable siya between Taenia solium and Taenia saginata. Okay, for Taenia saginata, ano naman ang pinagkaiba niya? Number one, its collex is cuboidal. Tapos, meron daw siyang small or absent rostellum. In CDC, the rostellum is absent or wala talaga. But for Merkel and Vogt, it is described to be small. Parang meron naman, it's just that it's very small. Ganyan yung pagkakasabi. But either way, wala pa din siyang hook. So, ang tawag natin sa Taenia saginata ay unarmed scolex or unarmed rostellum. Again, kapag walang hook, ang tawag unarmed scolex or unarmed rostellum. Nakakasunod po ba o O1? Okay, so nakakasunod. Okay. Ayun na nga. O, punta tayo sa proglottid. Almost the same lang naman, wider than long. Pero for the gravid proglottid, meron siyang 15 to 20. Mas madami yung uterine branches niya. And kung makikita nyo, mas masikip nga naman sa loob. Yes po, wait lang. Wait lang po, ma. Wait. Okay, sorry for the interruptions. Nasaan na tayo? Ayan. Ano sinasabi ko? Asa na tayo? Oh, anong sinasabi natin kanina? Tapos na tayo sa slide na to. Pwede na mag-proceed or may hindi pa ako nasabi?
Magsa-start pa lang kayo, ma'am. Nakat po.
Dito sa slide? Okay. So, ayun na nga. Ano ba to? Taenia saginata. Ayan, Taenia saginata proglottid. Pag mature, almost the same pa din, wider than long or nearly square. Pag gravid proglottid, mas madami yung lateral branches niya or yung uterine branches niya. And again, sabi natin, because the eggs are indistinguishable between Taenia solium and Taenia saginata, we look at their proglottids instead. So kaya dapat alam natin yung number of branches or at least yung general appearance ng branches para pag nakita natin siya sa microscope, okay, parang ang dami, 15 to 20, ano to, Taenia saginata to, ganyan. Please remember the description of the uterine branches of Taenia solium and saginata. Okay, another one would be, another important life stage for Taenia species would be the Cysticercus larva. So yung Cysticercus larva, para siyang cyst, so circular siya. Tapos yung nasa loob ng Cysticercus would be the scolex or invaginated scolex. Naka-inside out or nakapaloob. Yun yung invaginated na scolex. And this is the one that we would find or we would accidentally ingest in the undercooked pork or beef meat, di ba? Naka-insist sila doon sa meat nila or doon sa muscle nila. But when we ingest this Cysticercus, nalunok na natin, nakarating na siya ng small intestine, mag-i-evaginate na siya or lalabas na siya yung scolex. Tapos kung makikita natin, andito na agad yung scolex, may neck na siya, may proglottid na siya, tapos eventually, hahaba na siya, magiging adult tapeworm na siya. So this is the Cysticercus larva. To summarize our morphological differences, for the scolex, again, Taenia solium is armed, Taenia saginata is unarmed, Taenia solium has 7 to 13 uterine branches, Taenia saginata has 15 to 20 uterine branches. For apolysis daw, the proglottids are shed or released in groups, while for Taenia saginata, they are released singly. And then for the length, 2 to 4 meters yung Taenia solium, and Taenia saginata naman is 4 to 10 meters. So, sinamarize, tinabilite natin yung mga pagkakaiba nila. Okay. Now that we know the characteristics of Taenia solium and Taenia saginata, when we look at this picture, alin dyan yung Taenia solium? Yung nasa left or yung nasa right? Can you write in the chat box? Sino dito? Yung Taenia solium, left or right? Sino ba dyan yung Taenia solium? Sino ba yung mukhang merong hooks sa scolex? Sino ba dyan yung medyo konti lang yung uterine branches? Mas konti, relatively konti yung uterine branches. Yung nasa kanan o yung nasa kaliwa? Left po yung solium. Right? Ano kaya ang totoo? So the answer would be the one on the right. Kasi kung titignan natin na maigi, sino ba dito dun sa scolex na nakikita natin ang merong hooks? Yung may patusok-tusok, para siyang may eyelashes. Parang naka-eyelash extension. Ayan, yung may hooks, it would be the one on the right. Ayan, so this is the Taenia solium. And then, when you look at the uterine branches, hindi man natin siya mabilang na 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We compared to Taenia saginata, mas few siya. Ayan, or mas konti siya. So, this is the Taenia solium. Okay na? Agree na po ba ang lahat na ang Taenia solium ay yung nasa kanan? Okay, so proceed na tayo sa... Yes, miss. May nag-raise ng hand. Okay, proceed na tayo sa susunod. Let's now go to the life cycle. Okay, we will discuss the life cycle of both Taenia saginata and Taenia solium. Okay, once upon a time, punta muna tayo sa shedding of eggs and gravid proglottids in the stool sample and in the environment. So once upon a time, yung previous host, okay, nag-defecate siya, naglabas siya ng stool sample na merong eggs and gravid proglottid. And these eggs and gravid proglottids can contaminate the environment. Ayan, sa lupa. Tapos, pwede siyang makain ng ating intermediate host na cattle for Taenia saginata and pigs for Taenia solium. And they ingest the eggs. Ayan, they will ingest the eggs. Hindi na lang. Tapos, yung eggs, pagdating sa intestine nila, they will hatch, releasing the first larval stage, which is the oncosphere. They will release the oncosphere. The oncosphere will penetrate the intestinal wall and go to their muscles or to their meat, and they will develop into Cysticercus larva, like Cysticercus cellulosae kapag pork tapeworm, and Cysticercus bovis kapag beef tapeworm. So, pag itong animals na to, pag kinatay na sila, pero hindi sila naluto ng maayos, they were not properly cooked or thoroughly cooked, they can be, the oncospheres can survive inside their muscle tissue. So when we eat the raw or undercooked pork or beef meat, we will ingest the oncosphere. It will be liberated once the meat is digested, and it will reside in the small intestine and mature into Taenia adults. So once adults, magkakaroon na siya ng mga mature proglottid, gravid proglottid. Yung gravid proglottid, andun yung mga eggs. Mag-aapolysis na yung gravid proglottid, marirelease sa stool sample. So pwede din silang pwede din mag-rupture yung proglottid, releasing the eggs. And both of them can be found as diagnostic stages in the stool sample. Kapag yung stool sample na yun, ayun nga, hindi siya na-dispose ng maayos, tumae ka sa lupa, ganyan, pwede niya ulit makontaminate yung environment at pwede ulit yun makain ng mga cattle and pig. So that is the story of Taenia species. At ang tawag sa infection that follows from this life cycle would be Taeniasis. Wait lang po ha. Ayun. So, clear po ba ang life cycle ng Taenia species? Okay. However, for Taenia solium, meron pa siyang isang way that it can cause infection in the human host. So, itong Taeniasis, na-discuss na natin, itong red arrow sa baba. But, ano yung alternative way? Bakit natin sinasabi na pwede ding infective stage yung egg? At bakit natin sinasabi na pwede din tayong maging intermediate host ng Taenia solium? So, if we will go back to step number 1, yun. For Taenia solium, the eggs or embryonated eggs can also be an infective stage for humans. Therefore, when we eat the embryonated eggs from the environment, di ka nagugas ng kamay, ganyan. Or nasubo mo yung hands mo pagkatapos mo, ewan ko, hindi ko alam kung ginagawa mo sa lupa. Basta nasubo mo siya, ganyan, nakain mo siya. Kung ano yung nangyayari sa intermediate host, kung ano yung nangyayari sa baboy or sa pig, pwedeng mangyari sa atin. So when we ingest the embryonated egg, instead of simply residing in the small intestine, the eggs will hatch, releasing the oncosphere, and go to our own muscles and even other tissues such as subcutaneous tissue, brain, and eyes. So, ganun lang. Ang tawag dun sa infection na yun ay cysticercosis. And this one can be deadly. So, cysticercosis. Again, in cysticercosis, we ingest the embryonated egg. And kung ano yung ini-expect natin na mangyari sa pig, yun yung mangyayari sa sarili nating body o sa sarili nating tissues. Can we consider cysticercosis and taeniasis as interchangeable terms and interchangeable clinical manifestation? So the answer is no, magkaiba yun. Kapag intestinal infection, we use the term taeniasis. And dun sa taeniasis, tayo ang final host. Pero pag cysticercosis, di ba? Iba yung pathophysiology niya, iba yung pathogenesis niya. Kaya hindi sila interchangeable. So pag tinanong kayo sa quiz, make sure to use the right term. Are you referring to cysticercosis or taeniasis? Clear po ba yun o what? Ay, wait lang po ha. Continue. So, clear na po ba itong slide na to? Here's another slide that shows the cysticercosis, ayan, condition caused by Taenia solium. So again, nakain natin yung eggs, tapos napunta siya sa intestine, pero after ng intestine, lumayas siya, yung oncosphere, nagpunta siya sa organs, nagpunta sa muscle, brain, and eye, at ang tawag dito ay cysticercosis. Okay. For the pathogenesis, kapag intestinal infection siya, o kaya taeniasis, it can cause intestinal symptoms such as, or intestinal, ano ito? Tama, symptoms. Pwedeng vague abdominal discomfort, hunger pangs, or chronic indigestion. Pero kapag cysticercosis, ayan, it can lead to muscle invasion and CNS invasion. So it can cause myositis, fever, muscular pseudohypertrophy, and it may resemble lipomas. Also, it can infect the brain, causing neurocysticercosis. At ito yung picture ng brain na merong cysticercosis larva. Ayan. Tapos, for the diagnosis, we cannot use stool examination. Instead, we can use imaging techniques such as CAT scans, MRI, and we can also use immunoassays such as ELISA and EITB so that we can detect the antibodies. So, hindi man natin sila mag-detect na ma-isolate yung cysticercus mismo, pwede tayo mag-detect ng antibody that we have formed in response to the infection. And then, ayan, picture ulit ng brain na may cysticercus. Ayan, so ito yung example ng imaging, di ba? Sobrang dami. Kawawa naman siya. So that is for the pathogenesis. And then, meron lang tayong one last parasite. So this is the Taenia saginata asiatica. It's also called the Asian Taenia, and it's first reported in Taiwan. It's also related to Taenia saginata, meaning it does not produce cysticercosis in humans. So para siyang saginata, basic lang, ganyan. Hanggang intestinal infection lang. And it's morphologically similar to saginata, but the scolex resembles the solid, meaning yung scolex daw niya ay armed din siya. So meron din siyang armed rostalo. The infective intermediate host would be animals then, such as cattle, goat, monkeys, wild boar, and swine. But the infective stage would be Cysticercus viscerotropica. So tandaan nyo, iba-iba siya. Kapag solium, Cysticercus cellulose. Pag saginata, Cysticercus bovis. Kapag asiatica, Cysticercus viscerotropica. The habitat is the liver, and the proglutid would be would have 11 to 32 lateral branches. And this is what the Taenia saginata scolex would look like. Kung titignan nyo, mukha siyang cuboidal, pero meron siyang hooks or meron siyang rostellum with 2 rows of hooks. Ayan. And that is it for the Taenia species. So, hindi pa po tayo tapos. Nasa part 1 pa lang tayo ng PowerPoint. So, that is for the Taenia species. All in all, we have 3 that we learned this morning. Solium, saginata, and saginata asiatica. For our next parasite, it's called Multiceps multiceps. However, it can also be called Taenia multiceps. So, we can consider that as our 4th Taenia species. But for now, let's have a 5-minute break first. Okay, so it's 9:40. We'll continue at 9:45.